Here I am, God damn it. Here I am. Welcome to the Romello Marcellus Show. I'm he, you know the rest. God damn it. You're a little late coming on tonight, man. I had some things I needed to tidy up, take care of, and shit. It's like that sometimes, man. But I'm here. I'm here. Hope everything's well with you guys, man. Give everybody a second to get in. Let me see what I can muster up here, man, and pull out of my hind parts to do this show. Let me know if you can hear me, man. Leave it in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me. If you can't hear me, let me know. Seems Hollywood running scared, man. More people are coming out. More allegations. Seems like, oh boy, is a catalyst to a whole bunch of stuff that's about to come. I'm just rambling. Don't pay me no mind while I'm getting my thoughts together about how I want to do this thing tonight. If you're just joining the show, I guess you saw the topic. Here's what it is. Can't even. I'll put it to you like this. It's not going to be the show that you think it's never felt this way before. You're the only one I want anymore. I ain't gonna hold it up much. Let me do what I gotta do. Hang on one second. Bear with me. God damn it. Bear with me. 1 second. Hang on. Baby girl, ever told you are special. All right. Here we go, God damn it. Tonight's topic, man, if you're just joining the show, is ladies, if your grown son and your new man can't get along and they're both under the roof with you, who got to go? Who got to go? You know, I'm talking about this, man, because this is like it's not a new thing, but it's a thing where a woman grows, she raises her kids, does the best she can with her kids, but then, you may have one or two that lacks back and I don't know whether he's getting his shit together or he's not, but he's in the way of the mama trying to have her life. When does she get to the point where she got to take the titty out of his mouth? Got to cut the umbilical cord. Or is she one of those who will continue to enable this man or a man child as he has been? And we'll talk about that to no end and continue to lose out on her life, on love life or a love of her life as she should have for herself. Yeah. Um, Usually when young guys grow up, man, with situations like this, their buckets half full. They can only get what mama gives them. All right. So let's start with this. This situation can reveal a lot about loyalty, respect, authority, and the complicated roles that women navigate in in these type of relationships, right? So let's just say this, right? The emotional layers of a situation like this can really conflict loyalty between a mother and her son. Okay. Usually the child's growing up with some sort of missing thing, in regards to his life because he doesn't have his father around or a father figure 9 times out of 10. So when this guy comes along and enters the fray, it becomes a, how would I say, potentially could be an abandonment issue, or the child could have an Oedipus complex and believe that that woman is his, or vice versa. The woman that raised her a husband, son. Usually, when we look at women nowadays, they invest a lot in their sons. I get it. Trying to keep them busy, to keep them out of the streets and that kind of thing. But at the same time, you have to prepare him to go out into the world. You have to prepare him. You gotta get him off of you. But at the same time, you need to put him in position or in line to receive some sort of male uh, positive role model, if that makes sense to you. Um, what I gather from most scenarios in the conversations that I've had with some folks is that they would rather choose their son over the man that they're with, and for some weird reason, I'm blown by that because you're supposed to raise your son so that they can leave and go out into the world. But those are willing to hang on to their sons and remove their potential life partner. I don't know. Maybe it's you that have the issue and not the child. Because yeah, man, I'm uh, let me get in. Let me do this. Let me put it to you like this. Is a mother always obligated to side with a child even when he's grown? That's the question. And if so, and he feels abandoned, what happens when the son feels abandoned or displaced by his mother's new relationship? Another question. Should a grown man be expected to adjust and respect his mother's new romantic interest, or is it natural for him to be resistant to it? Or does that resentment lie in the fact that his mother's relationship or the relationship with the mother and father didn't work for whatever reason? And in most cases, 9 times out of 10, it was something that was never there anyway, because both parties were 9 times out of 10 irresponsible with themselves, i.e., jumping off. So those could be those things that are plaguing this man now as a child in a man's body who had these questions when he was young, I guess, for a better word. Um, it's like, damn, when do you get to the point where you can really talk to one another openly about the mistakes that you made? And see, we as parents, we believe we protected our children by not sharing the mistakes that we made, right? All right, so let's say this woman was out with her girlfriends, and this is a real scenario. Now she met this boy's father or daddy, whatever you want to call him, and they got together intimately, but there was never any real relationship, right? And she came up pregnant. She decided to hang on to him. That's her choice. That's her proclivity. She could do that. But is it fair to say that 9 times out of 10 the father wasn't going to stay around? Usually the case, especially when there's something that's so random or non-selective, as for lack of a better word. Okay. Um, Man, if you got any personal thoughts about what I'm talking about, man, leave it in the chat, man. The super chat is going. Um, here's something, right? That I'd like to get into the thought and where the ideology of how this man child is even existing, right? Frances Cresswelling, she's a noted she was a noted psychiatrist, and she wrote the ISIS papers, the keys to the colors. Black men raised by a single mother or single women face significant challenges, right? And it's like the challenges they were raised by, or excuse me, were faced with, um, systematically was set up to prevent them from reaching their full potential. Um, she believed that these challenges stemmed from systemic racism, historical trauma, and the destruction of the black family structure, which left or is still leaving many black family structures damaged and families disconnected from what their cultural identities lack, which is strong male role models, right? She also argued that the absence of a father in the house really resulted in the black men not receiving the guidance, the discipline, and the affirmation they needed to develop a healthy sense of masculinity, which is true. In the absence of the positive reinforcement that black men today, many struggle with these issues of self worth, lack of identity, and direction. She pointed out that the single black mothers do, and due to the pressures that they face in a racist society, may raise their sons with survival instincts rather than preparing them to thrive in a system that's stacked against them anyway. What I'm saying is this: the struggle love is real. If the boy grows up and that's all he sees is mama's handling the business, mama's doing this, mama's doing that, he's going to handle and conduct himself the way he sees his mother. Period. This is why I say if you're out here and you're meeting somebody, be sure you're talking to a man and not that boy's mama with her trauma. All right. Additionally, Dr. Cresswelling critiqued the societal conditions that led to the breakdown of the black families, including economic, systemic equality, which disproportionately affect and still affects black men today. According to Welsling, these factors contributed to the perpetuation of cycle of dysfunction that keeps black men from really reaching their true potential as leaders in their communities and their families. Okay. Her view suggested that in order to, or for the black man to achieve their fullest potential, it's essential to address both personal and the essential structural barriers that we face as black men in the world in which we live, including the rebuilding of strong families or the black family unit. Okay. Um, Here's the thing. Something as simple as prime example, the mother being the disciplinarian. Let's say young brother's got two sisters. These young ladies are actually being programmed to feel that they can do that to men in general because they see it being done to their brother, which is a male figure, all the way until he reaches the age which he could consider an adult. And that's another thing, another aspect of where the breakdown between us as men and women can be attributed to, where now we have a society where we have our quote unquote black females willing to sell, hey, I can do whatever I want to do, say whatever I want to say to someone who's already wrestling with identity issues as a man and constantly on uh stance or a mode of how do I say it? Aggression. There's a constant aggression when someone's being questioned about who they are and their identities, right? So here you go. You got two men. They could have everything in front of them, everything they could ever ask for. But at the same time, at a moment's notice, there's always a propensity for violence. And when men go to war, they go to war. So for a man to curtail that position and actually hold his temperament or his desires to act out with someone that's of a weaker nature, it does a lot to him mentally. Does a lot. So when we talk about governance of emotions and actions, it is a lot for young black men. Um, Here's the psychological impact of white supremacy, which is a true and actual factor. The power structure, it is alive and well. The argument that white supremacy creates an environment of inferiority and self doubt for black men through media Everything we see, education, which is true, which is totally biased except for the mathematics, and the systematic racism that is applied across a whole plethora of lanes in which we can't even engage in. Black men are often made to feel powerless and inadequate. This psychological warfare prevents many from achieving their potential as they internalize the belief that they are less than capable or less deserving of their success than their counterparts. This is an ongoing thing. This is every day, all day. So when you see a brother, you better know if he's with you, woman, he's fighting all of this when he's in the world. I'm sure you fight your own battles too, but neither one of you really want to come home and have to fight in your own home to fight each other to get to the same point of existence that you all want to be at anyway, right? So when we talk about the breakdown of the black family, right? Let's talk about it. In all actuality, right? You go from slavery to Jim Crow, and contrary to belief, in this country, slavery didn't end in 1975 when there was a total quote unquote banishment of Jim Crow. So you talk about between now and then, we totally had a free lane, quote unquote, to get our shit out, get our shit together and pull ourselves up by our bootstraps in this country. But with the disruption of the black family, there was no real structure individually per the rearing of our children. All right. Um, the black family structure, particularly the absence of the black fathers, played a heck of a significant role in hindering the potential of us as black men. This is systemic removal of us from the households, often through mass incarceration, economic disempowerment, um, a whole bunch of other forms of disenfranchisement, leaves and is still leaving many young black men without positive role models to aspire to. So this absence contributes to a lack of identity formation and disconnect from traditional roles of leadership. So that's the saying: if I don't know a man, how can I be a man? So the responsibilities of manhood or being a leader in my own home, it goes back to what I've been taught. If I've been taught to be territorial and jealous and catty, then that's what I'm gonna be. You know, a lot of brothers, a lot of people don't even know how to be in a space and place with other men and exist, and is always into the position that they need to be confrontational to prove something other than just being yourself, which is more than enough. No pun intended, but those are female traits. Now, economic disempowerment is a thing that is readily available and on tap for us every day, all day. This is why we look to those who we think have made it as heroes, our celebrities, rappers, athletes, and in our society, we don't have a infrastructure of people and professionals that can really make a difference in our communities. Prime example: we're all the doctors, we're all the lawyers, we're the judges, we are the people that really made our communities communities when our ancestors were moving about and we got this quote unquote freedom of movement and our liberties rather. Um, what I will say is we are often denied access to opportunities for wealth building, employment, and or education, leading to the cycles of poverty that a lot of us are dealing with right now. And it's difficult to escape that shit. So a lot of us will go out here, man, and operate in different realms, whether it's dick or brick. We're gonna go get it. I'm gonna go get that pistol. I'm gonna go, scam. I'm gonna do whatever I got to do to make it happen, or what we feel that we need to do to make it happen, which a lot of times is the wrong decisions. Um, but what I will say is this, you know, when being raised by a single mother, although there are a lot of things that are missing, there are a lot of things that are available. Through it all, mothers are the peacemakers. They are the first teachers, and those are the ones that are supposed to teach us to love ourselves and to love others. It is a shame that our disenfranchised families, dysfunctional families, has put us in a position where we can only get half the bucket the majority of the time, which is crazy. But we have to do our part to be willing to be bigger in situations and be diplomatic. I guess I could say that. Mama want to get her life. You nigga, get up out the way. And you know, the question is, with mothers, do you feel guilty because you know you didn't give him everything he needed to have, and you could have gave him better, or you should have gave him better? Is that why you're willing to say, well, potentially, man, you got to go because I'm not going to choose against my son? Or will you feel guilty at the fact that you want to have some time for your goddamn self, and have you somebody in your life as opposed to these kids? Is that one of those things? I mean, a lot of times, I mean, I don't know whether you have the conversation, or is it you might be petty as fuck and willing to say, all right, I'm gonna deal with this man, but I really don't like the man, but I'm gonna let him know that I ain't out here by myself. And if I get into anything with him because I'm gonna be reckless out of my mouth, yeah, my son and I we gonna jump on him. I mean, there are people out here like that. I'm just rambling, but there are people out here like that. You know it. We all know it. Um, what I will say is this: you wouldn't tell me no shit like that. You wouldn't tell me no shit like that. I gotta, for me, I believe that if if your child is grown, they are above a certain age, they need to at least have their own, be on their way well to having their own, and should be in no way a hindrance to me and how I decide to live my life after that age. Because at that point, I've given you more than what I was supposed to give you. It's on you to get it at this point. I've invested in you, and I'd like to see a return on my investment at some point in time because, God damn it, I'm not going to be young forever. So I don't want to go to a nursing home, although I may have my own home. But I'd like for you to come and look in on me. Yeah, every now and again, and make sure that I'm good. There are a lot of people out here that don't even have that. Yeah, because they're not willing to impart these things in their children, i.e., your sons. Um, there was a movie I went to watch, and I think it's still around. The Forge. The Forge is an excellent movie for single mothers to go and check out, man, and see how to deal with your sons, because they all need a man. We all need a man around to teach us to be a goddamn man. Maybe the new man could be the man, but for him to step foot in the house and be there, I think he had an issue about that because he wasn't his actual daddy. Yeah, I'm speaking to it. You think about it. Okay, here we go. Look at that movie, Baby Boy. Jody was a wild character, man, but he was the spitting image of his mama. See niggas walk around talk about the house is the crib, right? Like a baby. The woman is mama. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they hang out with their boys. Right. And all of them motherfuckers are misguided. You think about it, rarely do young men, or excuse me, young guys hang around people that's going to elevate them. Reason being is the majority of the folks that can elevate them or escalate their lives to another level or inaccessible or inaccessible to them because they're not looking for them. They're traveling the road with the least resistance. So growth is always a potential, but you got to teach your children to get up and go away from the house to go get it, not depend on you. What they say, Joshua Jesus was what, 13 when he left home, 14 when he left home. Yeah, you got to be willing to go do that, man. You got to be willing to get up out here and go get it. As a man, and I'm saying a young man, he shouldn't be around there anyway. He should be somewhere beating his feet, make his life happen. If you got health and strength in your body, man, you should always be on something to make life happen. Yeah. But if you watching his mama come home bitch and moan about work, about this, about that, this person, that person. Those are the traits he gonna pick up. Majority of these young boys out here, they can't hold water. They don't want to take a ass whooping. They want to hoop and holler about what somebody else ain't got and they got, and so on and so forth. And then when it comes time to it, they're gonna be crying for their mama at the end of the day. Put them in certain situations, they're gonna crumble like a piece of paper. Yeah. Now, should that mama set his ass out or put him in a position where he's got to respect her or her wishes and the fact that she's taking on a life for herself? I think that that depends on the mama. If she bought her business, then yeah, she need to stand that joke up and put him in the corner. Put him in the corner and put his ass out. One of the two. Yeah. Um. Shoot, I'm like this, man. Ain't much I ain't seen, but I ain't never seen that. I've never had to deal with that ever. Yeah. Anyway, man, listen, I just came on to put a little paint where it ain't, man. I don't know, man, whether y'all are here and feeling this conversation that I'm having. I didn't want to go and be ratchet tonight. I just wanted to kind of put a little thought, you replay, go back and pick it apart, the questions that I asked, you know. Okay, I hear you one. Here you go. Here you go. All right, as a man, right? How should a man establish his authority or respect in a household where a grown man already lives? All right, he already got a presence and they moving about and contributing to the little house and whatever else. So how should he establish his authority or respect? Okay. Number two, is it reasonable for a man to ask a woman to choose between him or her son if the two can't get along? And number three, what does it say about a man if he can't earn the respect of his partner's child or if he demands too much goddamn control? What does it say about him? Yeah. See, now going back and forth with a child over something, man, that could be nothing like shit from Kool-Aid. I don't know, whatever. Could undermine the whole new relationship or situationship between the man and the woman. And could pose questions about somebody's masculinity and leadership. Yeah. So, secondly, or thirdly, what about the boundaries in the situation, right? Should the son be asked to leave if he's not respecting the new relationship by his mother? And what point should a woman encourage her son to live on his goddamn own? Get up and get out. Yeah. Here's another one. How should a man navigate the situation without overstepping or disrespecting the mother and the son's relationship? Yeah. My belief is that the woman is the common denominator, and how she carries it is just like anything else. Period. It's all on her. So here you go. What role do she play, right? What role does the woman play in mediating the situation and setting clear expectations for both her and her son and her partner? Yeah, I think it should be a clear line of communication and establishing what boundaries, when you're coming and going, and all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, but then you got to check the dude too. You know, it's getting cold outside, and a lot of these niggas out here fucking for beds and places to stay. And shit like that. That's true, goddamn it. And then taxis goes, they're gonna be hanging out trying to get the tax money. I'm just goddamn it telling the truth. So recognize who you got coming to see you, wrestling your children for their snacks and shit. um, I'll say it's this: it's not unfair for her to be asked to choose between her son and her man. Not unfair at all. It's not unreasonable. I think it should be a question that should be asked, right? Um, well, actually, some shit that should have been put in place long before the man showed up. So goes back to once again, it's on the mama. It's her house, it's her shit. And if she's gonna have guests, then she need to be training her kids to be respectful to the guests that's coming in there. You hear me? Um, Something like this, I'm sure, could impact the woman's happiness or her peace and ability to move forward on her own and have a life of her own because she's concerned about the approval and awareness of her kids. I get that. So how can a woman establish the balance between nurturing her son and honoring her own needs in a romantic relationship? Or does it even matter at this time because the motherfucker grown? Really? Ultimately, ladies, you have to ask yourselves, what do you want out of your relationship, both as a mother and as a partner? This is for those that are going through this. It's not for everybody else. I mean, you can get what you want out the bath and throw away the water. Um, and who is creating the healthier environment for you to thrive in? Yeah. What I do know is that it's rough, man, out here when you are left to your own devices to raise children by yourself and then trying to have a life by yourself or for yourself. You got to pick and choose when you can come and go. You can't move like you've always moved. I get it. At the same time, you feel like a high school kid creeping around trying to get your needs met because you don't want kids in your personal life and around people that you don't know that's going to be there for the long haul or not. And then you got to really step to your situations the way you got to step to them, i.e., if you out of the house, then who's in the house with their kids? I mean, when they're children. And at the same time, you got to be mindful of what your kids see when they are young because they're going to get old and they're going to know what the fuck you've been doing and how they're going to view you once they figure out, or excuse me, get to the point where they understand what's been going on. This is what happens with so many young men because there may be times that have been tight in your life and you watch your mama get on her back so she can get up on her feet. You know what I mean? You got Mr. Charlie, you got Mr. This, Mr. That, Mr. This, and Uncle this and Uncle that. And shit, when you get older, you never see these motherfuckers again. Yeah. So it comes to you. So you're like, damn, well, how was mama doing what she was doing? And there's nothing wrong with her having a life, god damn it. But, you know, the impressions will be there, dullable or not, in the future. So you may feel some kind of way when you finally say, all right, fuck it. He can come to the door. He here, he grown, and it's not an issue now. It's nothing I got to hide about my life. That's just another aspect. I'm just putting it out there because it is a factor. What I will say is It's all good for you to have a life. It's all good, but at the same time, you got to be as transparent as possible from the giddy up about what you doing and who you doing it with and how you doing it. And thirdly, do the nigga have a house of his own that you can go to? Yeah, just an option. I mean, and I guess you just come there for cordial delectables and dinner and hang out and kick it and watch TV and then go the fuck on home. Yeah, until you decide to say, well, we're gonna get serious and get under one roof and grow old together. Keep it as respectful as possible. But most of us out here feel like, hey, I'm grown. I can have who I want in my house. And yeah, I hear you. What that look like though? What that look like? Yeah. If you got sons, man, push them. Don't enable them. They need not to see a lot of things about you handling business. They need to see men handling business. Yeah. So they know how to conduct themselves, even with you. Yeah.